Strap yourselves in, I've got the tea, and today we've got some serious tea. So, we've got two debunking groups going at each other, alright? Well, sort of going at each other. They've had a bit of back and forth. Now, there's a bit of history of going back and forth between these debunking groups, and I'm going to give you all the context and the breakdown of what's gone on, some responses and back and forth and all the rest of it. So, who would have thought it, by the way? Debunkers going at each other. Anyway, moving on, we've got PSI, so the Paranormal Investigators, right, PSI, I can't remember what Paranormal Scientific Investigators, that's what their group stands for, going up against none other than Beardo. Alright, now, these are two prominent debunking groups. Now, I'm not sure if PSI are necessarily debunkers anymore. I know they do a little bit of paranormal investigating here and there. They did do debunking, and then I'm not sure if they still do, but Beardo obviously is an out-and-out debunker, and, you know, quite proudly labels him as such. They've had history. There was some comments made from PSI to Beardo. I can't find the videos anymore. Otherwise, I would flash them up just to give you the full context. I think PSI started it and Beardo responded, and then that was where like the ties kind of got cut, right, between these guys. But before that, both of these people went to My Haunted Hotel and investigated at My Haunted Hotel to try and like, you know, what's the word? Validify? Is that the word? Is that even a word? You know what I'm trying to say. Basically, confirm the validity of the paranormal experiences going on there. They both came out saying, yep, we think that this is completely legit. Everything seemed kosher. And then suddenly, can't remember exactly what happened. Like I say, I can't find the videos. If anyone's got the links to the videos, put them down in the comments. I'll pin your comment, and then people can kind of get the full context from those videos. Anyway, Beardo posted something over on his Facebook, and it was PSI taking jabs at Beardo through a article, all right, which I found to be particularly weird. And then I went into dived into the context of this entire thing, and it came from a blog site called Morse Decodes, all right, and it was on an article debunking the debunkers, part 2, the danger of getting things wrong. This came out on April 15th of 2025. I'd never heard of this blog before until today, but apparently it's quite popular. So, you know, that's just me with my head in the sand, I suppose. But they go on to start this part 2 by talking about My Haunted Hotel and how it's an ongoing investigation based on the 400-year-old ye olde King's Head in the English city of Chester, right, which is around Liverpool. So that's how it all started. Now, the controversy with, you know, My Haunted Hotel started in September of 2023 when debunker The Shape posted a video where he claimed to have debunked the hotel, unfortunately made several incorrect assumptions about the venue, misinterpreted the screen phenomena, including mistaking a dust particle as an object being thrown, and other accusations without basis. Now, obviously, I know that My Haunted Hotel then bashed back against The Shape and all the rest of it. There was a lot of stuff that went on. But the damage, however, had been done, and as of the time of writing this article, there is still a stigma attached to the projects as fallout from the video. There's still people online attacking the project, citing that The Shape's discredited debunking video. So, you know, basically talking about the damage done. But then we go on to talk about later on how Beardo went to visit the hotel. So firstly, of all the debunkers who have criticised the project, Beardo has visited the hotel and has recorded his experiences that he has unequivocally stated that he is unable to debunk. Secondly, and perhaps more relevant to the matter at hand, his investigative experience outside of My Haunted Hotel is predominantly limited to shorter evening or overnight stays at a location in the traditional style of paranormal YouTube content. By comparison, the setup at My Haunted Project locations employs constant surveillance via audio and CCTV cameras 24/7. It stands to reason that such continuous coverage increases the likelihood of capturing phenomena purely due to the extended time dedicated to observation. Comparing constant round-the-clock surveillance to a few hours on location is not equatable basis for comparison. Another thing that Beardo fails to consider is the fact that weekly episodes produced by The projects are heavily edited down to, quote, highlights, drawing from thousands of hours of multi-camera angles footage spanning over the course of a week or potentially weeks. This editing process means that what is presented to the viewing public represents a tiny fraction of the data collected. The vast majority will show absolutely nothing of interest at all. Finally, assertions by Beardo and others about the frequency of activity captured at the hotel or indeed any other location don't stack up logically. If we are to accept that certain places are haunted, then it would have to have taken that the nature of the frequency of paranormal incidents will vary greatly between locations. This assertion that too much activity happening on a weekly basis implies that the existence of some identified threshold at which the frequency of paranormal events would be considered believable. However, no such standard has ever been articulated, leaving this kind of argument vague and subjective. Ultimately, the approach by My Haunted Project sets apart from the other traditional paranormal investigating groups, events companies, and demonstrates that debunkers are assessing cases should be mindful of the need to judge each one on its own merits and quirks. So that's where Beardo's obviously mentioned within that. Now, moving on, right? It goes on to talk about a lot of stuff. So this was a whole 3-part blog. Moving on from that, down the bottom, there is an opportunity for people to leave their own comments. All right, and down in the comments section, interestingly, was a comment by PSI. Now, PSI, obviously, like I say, were kosher for a while with Beardo. They then, something happened, but they were actually there on the night of the paranormal investigations that went on with Beardo. They had this to state: everything I say is quoted. You can see it on the screen before anyone starts to think that, there's, I'm pushing narratives, because people like to claim that. I'm not. Literally just reading it. You can see it as it is. Anyway, Beardo has also falsely debunked people. He got it wrong several times and has left the video up on his channel. It's all about the drama, getting views, and paid for it. We, PSI, investigated My Haunted Hotel with Beardo. His investigative skills are pretty much zero. His lack of experience was immediately noticed when we thought we was watching a Most Haunted throwback episode. He clearly is a fan. His debunking is his own opinion, as with other debunkers, and is nothing more. It's not the gospel. His channel relies on drama and won't survive without it. As I've said before, the debunking communities, not all of them, are full of negative people fueled by the debunkers themselves. A comment like that inevitably was always going to get back to Beardo. Alright? There is no corner of the internet where you can talk about this man without someone finding it and sending it to him, because that's just how it works. Over on his Facebook page, like I say, he's put up the screenshot of the comment from PSI themselves. No context, of course, to the actual article itself or what's being said, just this. And he said, PSI, I would take your comment seriously on this article if you hadn't stupidly claimed a coat on the hook was a ghost. You forgot that your hatred of me stems from researching your Gansfield rip-off experiment and concluding that you were not talking to the other side. You were, in fact, inducing hallucinations. You are also the first to shout, quote, debunkers are toxic, while admitting that Mark got into trouble with his church for his toxic comments on Sam and Colby and Twin Paranormal. Remember that? Sat in your car absolutely berating them, name-calling them. PSI states that I'm a fan of Most Haunted, despite numerous videos clearly showing the contrary. And in that visit to the hotel, they were blowing smoke up my ass. Amazing how great an investigator I was until I poked holes in one of their experiments. And let's not forget that Mark, that the second channel you set up wearing a mask, making outlandish claims about me, and but being given away by your inability to chroma key out green screens. Absolutely rookie mistake you've never gotten right. And the fact that your mods grassed you up for showing her text messages. I would make a video out of this crap for what it is, But no one knows who the fuck you are apart from the TikTok investigators that worked with a faker on your experiments. Mark PSI, you sir are a bit of a twat. There you go. Obviously, I'm just going to leave it out there. Those are the comments made. Those are the comments that have been dipped in and dipped out. What do you guys make of it? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Are you surprised by this? Yeah, genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.